Today we have a pretty awesome video for you. We have an interview with Stephan T. Benson, or the real golden voice of sports entertainment, or as some of you probably know him, the $1 Million Challenge winner for WWE 2K19. Now, I've been seeing a lot of hate. I've been seeing a lot of people going out there talking about, oh, it was rigged. Oh, he works for WWE. Oh, he didn't give a proper reaction at the end of it. Well, don't worry, because in this interview, we talk about all of that. I talk about where he came from, we talk about where he got to, and we talk about the $1 Million Challenge in its entirety. If you guys do enjoy this, make sure you smash that like button and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, everybody, we are here with the $1 Million Challenge winner. I'm a bit envious, let me be real, with Stephan T. Benson, the real golden voice of sports entertainment. How you doing today?
I'm doing pretty great. How about yourself, sir?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad. I'm glad that you came out to do this. Thank you very much for taking your time away. I know it's WrestleMania week. You're probably still enjoying the festivities, but thanks for sitting down.
My pleasure. I'm at home now and rest.
It's kind of hard to hear you right now. You said you're in the airport right now?
No. I was in a Dunkin' Donuts. I'm back in Philadelphia now, though. That's where I live.
Okay, cool. So I kind of want to just get into this. I'll ask you a lot about the $1 Million Challenge, of course, but I kind of want to get to know you before I get into that. So, like, how did you, first, I guess, what got you into professional wrestling or WWE?
I've been watching since I was about 5 or 6 years old. And of course, my father explained at the time, you don't do this at home, and it's okay to watch, but it's dangerous, obviously. And as far as the ring announcing is concerned, I'm a ring announcer for professional wrestling, and I've always wanted to work for WWE. So, I've just been paying my dues on the independent circuit, working my way up. And, WWE, I get their games faithfully every single year, first day they come out. And, I just love them. And I practice nonstop.
So with that ring announcing, is there any, major promotions that you worked for that we might know of?
Monster Factory Pro Wrestling over
Okay.
in Paulsboro, New Jersey. There's also Keystone Championship Wrestling here in Pennsylvania. The Monster Factory is owned by Danny Cage. And prior to that, by Larry Sharp, Pretty Boy Larry Sharp. And then KCW, Keystone Championship Wrestling, is owned by Mr. Kareem Horton. Both fantastic promoters. And I've also worked for Combat Zone Wrestling as a manager for the Nigerian Nightmares. When I first started out in the wrestling world, I was a manager.
So then how did you really get into this? Were you always with your voice, were you into theater or anything, or were you into singing, music, any of that? Or were you just I just really like wrestling and I just want to get into that?
I've always wanted to get into wrestling, and as far as that, it's all self-taught. I would play the video games and just announce the wrestlers as they came to the ring. Because I know the older games, like on Nintendo 64 and on PlayStation, the first PlayStation didn't really have ring introductions.
Yeah.
So that just is what got me into it. And I wanted to know, and I had to figure out for myself, did I physically want to become a wrestler, or did I want to be an announcer? And my passion's always been in announcing. I just realized when I tried out the physical part, it wasn't for me. And some medical conditions, physically prevent me from full-time wrestling, which is, it happens. But I'm just happy that I'm involved in the.
That's cool. So let's get into the whole $1 Million Challenge thing. So
Okay.
When you first saw this, you said you've been a huge video game fan like myself. You play all the games right when they come out, so you're probably skilled. Obviously, you won that $1 Million, so you are skilled. Were you always set out okay, I'm gonna try and beat this $1 Million Challenge immediately, I'm gonna go to WrestleMania and I'm gonna win this $1 Million? Was that your ultimate goal, or were you just kind of well, we'll see what happens, maybe not, who knows?
From the moment they announced the challenge last summer during that press conference that they had in June, I said, I'm going to enter this tournament. I'm going to win it. I'm going to win $1 million. I read the rules once they finally released them, the criteria in which they needed the promo video to meet original, unique, entertaining, and WWE style. And a lot of people, no disrespect to them, just weren't delivering on that. It was a lot of, I'm going to beat you, AJ Styles. You're on the road, however many days a year, 300 days a year. And I'm like, that's what everybody keeps saying. Say something original, say something that, nobody else is doing, and put some pizzazz into it, put some feeling into it, some heart. And, only a few people from what I've seen as far as promos have done that. And once they picked me, I said, I don't care how good those other players are, their best was not going to be good enough for me. I respect the hell out of them, but that's how competitive I am.
So before you got there, obviously they emailed you, or is that how they contacted you? Were they like, okay, so we like you, we want you to come out to WrestleMania, and that's what did it kind of just go from there then?
Yes, they gave me the email. They hit me with the email a week after my 31st birthday.
Oh,
So on the
nice.
12th of March, mine was on the March 6th, and of course they said, with the NDA, you can't say anything until we, make the official announcement. So that was the absolute hardest part, telling everybody I don't know if I got picked, knowing darn well that I did.
Yeah.
So I'm just so thankful to WWE and the 2K games. They go for great teams there, and this was a huge opportunity that changed my life. It's like once in a lifetime you get an opportunity for something like this, and the fact that they chose me to be a part of one of the Elite Four, it's an honor. I'm getting a lot of hate online, some racial, really derogatory comments towards myself. He works for WWE, which I do not. I hope to work for them one day, but I don't. And I think the reason a lot of people are saying that is because I've introduced the likes of Trish Stratus, and Ric Flair and others. But that's literally from going to fan access and asking to introduce them, like during the Q&As that they do. That's how I've introduced them, or interview them before the event when they get into the parking lot, when the fans are all waiting for them. My thing is not a photo. I'd like to introduce you, or I'd like to interview. That's the only reason there are videos of me interviewing people. Either that, or I go to signings.
So we'll get more into like a little bit of that controversy. I don't want to get too deep into it, but we will talk about that. That's good that you talked about that, because that was one of the things I wanted to bring up, was that because you had those on your YouTube channel and people immediately saw like, oh, he's behind the guardrail and he's talking. He's got to be a WWE employee. So that's kind of cool that you kind of go, hey, I would like to ring announce or interview you. I mean, I'm sure that's not far fetched for them to be like, okay, sure, why not?
Exactly. I think the only thing that got them was like, they were like, you want to introduce? Yeah, is it coming to the ring? I said, I know we're not inside, but it's, a way for me to show off the skill, and I practice every single day. Not a day that goes by that I don't practice my announcing, because I want to be what WWE, and I want to prove myself to them. And for as long as I have to do it, I will continue to do that until I get that opportunity.
Well, there you go. I was going to ask you about the video game specifically now. So when you had to do that $1 million challenge, how much of a challenge was it for you? Because for myself, I think it took me like a week or two to beat the challenge. How hard was it for you?
Oh, I hate that tower. I will never play that tower ever again. I was telling them in the promo video that challenge was, even for a skilled player like myself, was extremely difficult, because just as well as I do, it's like they put all the sliders up on the game to make them reverse everything, to make them harder to damage. Like I was facing Bobby Roode in my first match. Right out of the gate, I got a spear, even though even though I knew I timed the reversal properly. It's like they make it so you can't. They make it obscenely hard. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to beat this. I'm not going to let this thing defeat me. I did it in the course of a day and a half. I did it in one try, but I had to keep pausing because of the frustration. I was getting close to raging, and I think anybody, yourself, me, anybody as a gamer can understand, games can make you very angry at times. So,
of course, that's good to hear. Because with me, the hardest thing in the whole tower to me was probably the Brock Lesnar match, because it's in that cage, and if he catches you with that suplex city, like when you did as you were playing as Brock, there's like no way to get out of it. It's just over and over and over. And he's got that ground and pound move too, that where he just gets on top and he just keeps wailing on you, and that's the most frustrating. I think that was the most frustrating match for me. But
it was when I had to face Lesnar. The one thing that I did do with Lesnar, because it's so hard to damage him, is force him to use all his reversals. And I had to unfortunately give up some damage for that. Take some damage for that reason. Is I had to spam that Pele kick against T in particular, because everything else I did, it wouldn't let me lift him. It was like he was a super heavyweight, which I understand certain ways you can't lift heavyweights up as a light heavyweight. I started doing the limb targeting system, of course, as well, because every time I tried to do limb target system before, it didn't work. He just reversed everything, and it just seemed like nothing was working. So through a lot of pausing and frustration, I got through that match, and I think it took me about most of the 10 or 15 minutes to get through that match.
Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. Well, good to see that you took that strategy of pausing. I did it. I was doing it. I was like live streaming it while I was doing it. So I think that added extra pressure for me, but that's besides the point. Anyway, I want to get back to like the $1 million challenge experience. So how was that whole thing when they got to send you out to WrestleMania? I know you said you've been to other WWE events. I've seen the videos. Have you been to WrestleMania before then?
I went to WrestleMania 24, 28, 29, and 30. And then, of course, from 30 to now, I did not go, obviously, until this past weekend. And it was all expense paid trip for myself and a guest. Tickets to Hall of Fame, access, of course, WrestleMania, takeover. And, of course, the person who gets to the finals got to, hang out backstage at Takeover, which was a really awesome experience to meet everybody and, just thank them for the opportunity. And of course, a lot of PR and media stuff, which was, it was an honor and a privilege to be able to do that.
That's really cool. That's really cool. I'm glad that was like a good experience for you, because I feel like with all that pressure and all you trying to like focus on that $1 million, you could kind of forget, and it's hard to like stay in that moment and like enjoy the moment, So I'm glad that you were able to like get a positive experience out of that.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
So then I wanted to ask you about the pre-finals, like before the semifinals, I guess, with the other contestants. How was that experience meeting those other people and their videos and kind of going up with them where you wanted to beat them, but you also were kind of like, I'm sure you were buddy because you're all just here having a good time.
They are such nice guys. We have Gregory, Roman, and David. They were all, David Huey. They were so Hoey. They were so great at Hoy for that reason. And we, we're just all hanging out, talking about, the challenge. Hey, great luck. And as I told them, I said we are friends before and after the tournament, not during, because you got to disconnect that. Just like when you're at a job, we're friends before and after the business. I didn't want any of that getting involved. Like, don't misconstrue. There, it's in the rules. You can't let anybody win. Nor would I. I'm not that kind of gamer. Any true gamer doesn't let somebody win. You fight, and if you get your butt whooped, you get your butt whooped. It happens. I'm not saying that I've not been defeated on 2K19. Of course, who hasn't been? But it's extremely hard. If you get a win over me, and I say that this with all due respect to any gamer, you're saying something because I'm a difficult person to get past. But the other semifinalists there, the videos were fantastic. I loved David always when he was like, I wake up, I beat AJ Styles. I go to sleep, I beat AJ Styles. I beat AJ Styles while I'm beating AJ Styles. I'm on a date with my girlfriend having dinner, and I beat AJ Styles. I thought it was freaking hilarious. I thought Kahuna Frog, that was really awesome when he had the whole frog costume and was explaining how he was had he beaten a $1 million challenge and how he was going to defeat AJ at WrestleMania if he'd have made it to him. And then Gregory's was really great too. He did it at the University of Florida, had all of, had some friends and classmates help him record the video, which was really neat, and had them in the background, which everybody saw. And I thought that was a really cool effect. That was something different that, you didn't see anybody else do. So I definitely think their videos were unique. They were original. They were entertaining. And they definitely, from the crop of videos that I saw, and I've looked at thousands of them between October in terms of being submitted and now, and I think 2K did a great job choosing. I can't argue with their choices. I did when I not knowing their skill was the only thing that worried me somewhat. I was like, they could be really good. So what is my strategy going to be against them to combat whatever it is that they bring to me? And I just basically said, whatever they do, their best will not be enough for my best.
So I wanted to quickly ask you about the match itself. I saw something they posted on Twitter about how there was a ring break and they had to restart one of the matches. Was that during your match or was that somebody else?
That was during Roman versus Roman Dressler versus David Hoy. Strategy, he told me afterwards, was to do the ring break because it's a win. It's a KO, but it clearly says in the rules of the tournament, pinfall submission, or if the time limit runs out and no pin or submission is successfully administered, the person with the most health, they go by the health bar first, and if that was equal, then they go by the actual body meter. And so even I was looking at everyone was looking at it like, wait, this doesn't count because it wasn't a pinfall submission. Their time run out, and that's why they restarted it to a 5-minute sudden death. And then David ran the time down once he got Roman into yellow. I believe it's yellow or even orange damage. And I was like, oh, I was like, I can't blame them. I mean, it's $1 million. You got to do what you got to do.
So then you were okay with the way that they set up the rules? You thought it was pretty fair competitively?
Yeah, very fair competitively. I mean, the fact that there are noted countouts really mattered a lot because imagine if, like, let's just say, for example, I'm not, let's say you're in there, and then somebody else is in there that's really cheap that will take any way to win. Like, hey, I'm going to get you counted out. Wouldn't you be pissed if you were in $1 million match, a chance to be in $1 million match, and then somebody got you counted out? That, cheap. So I love the fact that they turned countouts off. And I was like, great. I was like, now we can have some fun. And when they turned DQs off, I was like, oh, that's going to be even better. And my thing is, I can have an extremely competitive and great match, but my attitude going into that tournament was that I don't have time to have a competitive match. I have time to destroy people. I have time to pick up a weapon and make these matches as quick as possible because it's $1 million and it's going to change my life. I'm able to take care of my mother, my father, my family, and that was my goal for getting into the tournament. Aside from making sure I'm good, I want to make sure they're good. And my strategy was sound, and I did what was necessary. No cheating, no glitching. I don't any of that. Nor do I just use what the game allowed me to do. And what was within the rules.
So I was wondering, was it your goal going into this to be a heel, or were you just playing off the crowd here?
Oh, pretty much playing off. If they would have cheered, then that's exactly what I did. Because I came out initially kind of like, what's up, Brooklyn? I was nice at first, and then I was like, well, if they want to boo, that's fine. There's one thing I was always taught in the entertainment business and sports entertainment and wrestling in particular. If they're cheering, you're doing your job. If they're booing, you're doing your job. When they're quiet, that's when you're not. So as soon as they booed, I said, oh, that's fine. I started out as a heel, as a bad guy when I first started in the wrestling business as an announcer on the independent. So, and I know how to work with a New York, New Jersey crowd. They're very hard to please. So, and I knew going into it, AJ is the popular one. They're going to want him to win. And I respect that. That's his ring. That's his house. But the virtual squared circle that night was mine. And as far as the fans booing, they paid their money. They have every right to boo. I'm not mad at them for that. It made the experience that much better. And I had a lot of fun, doing that.
So now looking back in hindsight, do you think that you probably shouldn't have done the heel stuff?
No, I mean, as soon as they start booing me, my thing, just go with the flow. It's kind of, on the fly, go with the flow. Whatever the crowd is kind of putting out, you go with. If you're trying to be nice and they're like booing, you could still continue to kill them with kindness and try to win them over. Or you could, be a heel, be heelish. And I love being a bad guy. It's a lot of fun for me. So it wasn't anything that I wasn't genuinely, it wasn't me being genuinely like, hey, I'm a jerk. It's all part of a show, trying to put on the best show possible for WWE and 2K. They invited me out there to be a part of an amazing thing, and from what I've told, I delivered. I'm very happy that I could do that with them. Now, as far as my reaction, I practiced this game. I've played over 1,600 plus hours practice, and that's just a rough estimate thus far. I gotten no sleep, little to no sleep leading up to the actual event, so I was tired. Once I got to the semifinals, I got a little boost of energy. Got past the semifinals, and by the time I got to AJ, I had already lost my voice in the semifinals. If you haven't seen the video, it was hilarious. The golden voice loses his voice, and but I was extremely happy. I didn't have the energy to throw out that reaction that I generally would, but I let everybody know. I was like, no, I'm super thankful. I'm super happy, and it still hasn't quite hit me though that, dude, you just won $1 million, and I'm just sitting here nonchalant, and Dunkin' Donuts and just kind of relaxing.
So what do you think about the negative comments coming out with people saying, oh, it should have been me. It shouldn't have been Stephan T. Benson. Why not me?
Yeah, if they're blowing or cheering, it is what it is. And there's always going to be somebody that's hating. There's always going to be somebody say, hey, that's not fair that it was him instead of me. I used to be that kid at one point. When I was younger, I was me saying, well, why did they get picked and I didn't? What did I do wrong? And I understand that. I look at it this way. My thing is not saying that anybody else's video wasn't good enough. It's whatever 2K and WWE, in terms of them judging it, thought. If they thought other people's videos weren't what they were looking for, then that is, that's their decision. I didn't have any decision, in the choosing process, a selection process, should I say. And as they say, haters gonna hate. I just say, hey, thank you to all the people who booed me. Thank you to all the people who cheered me. I don't work for WWE. I do hope and pray one day that I will work there. And I want everybody to know that what me being a heel was literally just a show. I'm one of the nicest guys you could ever meet, and I mean that genuinely.
So you kind of got a jump on AJ Styles when he taunted in the corner. How did you think AJ Styles' performance was?
I think he mistakenly pressed the D-pad, meaning to go for the analog. But me, I saw it as an opportunity. Jump on him while I can. And I'd seen the practice that he had done on caffeine and some other broadcast that he'd done in the past. And I said, I'm not going to let that throw me off guard. Me, the way I think is everybody's as good as me or better if I'm going into a tournament or some kind of challenge. So then that way I don't let my guard down. I assumed AJ was going to be really great. And then when I started facing him, and I just, I was like, I'm going to suplex. That's what I promised. That's what I delivered. When he got that mid-move reversal on me, and I had the negative debuff that you cannot get around. You can't get around it unless you have a payback that correlates to getting rid of it. So, but after that, he wasn't able to run up to me. I don't know what was going on. The controllers were brand new. So I just took it early on and didn't give him room to breathe. I'm a very aggressive player. So if I'm playing somebody, I don't have that that quote unquote ring respect. Like, let you get in the ring. No, earn your way back in. Get in, reverse my move, or you get in and you take this butt whooping until you can reverse. Unless I'm putting on a show for if I'm doing like a YouTube show where I have a E-Fed and I want it to look good, then that's fine. But I'm way too aggressive of a player to allow somebody any type of advantage. I said, because it could be as good as a player as I am, it could be my luck that that can be that one screw up. And we all have had that one match where we know we could have kicked out and didn't, even though we tried. Like something just went wrong. It just happened, and I could not allow that. And yeah.
So then now that you have this $1 million, you said you were going to try and help out your family. What are your ultimate goals now? Do you want to be, WWE is still like where you want to get to as far as like life goals?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I'm just going to use this to elevate myself as much as possible. Aside from, saving and doing smart stuff, investing, helping out family, and I'm going to donate to charity as well. That's just something I was determined to do with this. As I've been taught, and just with my parents and in the wrestling world, pay it forward. When somebody looks out for you, you pay it forward, and don't expect anything in return. Just be genuine. So that's what I'm going to do. But as far as that, I'm going to continue to announce on the independents. I'm going to continue to go to WWE events, ask wrestlers if I may have the opportunity to introduce or interview them, and like I said, pay my dues and continue to be humble and respectful. And one day, I know it'll be my time one day, sooner or later. Just gotta wait. So everything's a matter of time.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad you got that positive attitude. Continue to do what you do and use this hopefully as a platform to get to bigger and better places. So is there any other thing that you'd like to mention or shout out or talk about? Maybe your social media, YouTube channel, any of that stuff?
I'd like to say a huge thanks to WWE and 2K and AJ Styles, Xavier Woods, Corey Graves, Big E, Kofi Kingston. Congratulations on the championship win. Super big thanks to The Miz for being my coach. And it was great, having Paige in there and Ember Moon. The atmosphere was electric. Thank all of you so much for that. Thank everybody that supported me, and even those that don't. All reaction is good reaction, in my opinion. And to my semifinalist opponents, Roman and David and Greg, thank all of you so much. I had an amazing time meeting you guys. Please stay in contact, and we definitely all got to go to WrestleMania next year. Now, I would like to say to you, Mr. Pizza Guy, I would love the opportunity to play you in WWE games and maybe a couple of the other, popular YouTubers that stream WWE. Chris Denker, I think like a fatal 4-way match or even a 6-pack challenge online would be amazing to have one day. Ooh. On Xbox or PlayStation. I have both.
Well, let me know. I'll see if I can set that up. We'll have to get it in the DMs and get that all set up, but I'm down for that. We'll see. Because I have some really competitive people. I don't know if you know It's My Yard. Have you ever heard of him?
Yes, I do know It's My Yard. Yes.
So
he was talking to me on his channel. He thought I was working for WWE too.
Right. He's like the most hardcore competitive type. He was always pushing for a competitive scene back in the day, and he's always been big competitive. So I'd like to see if we could set up something with you guys playing, maybe some competitive rules or something. But we'll definitely have to get it going on here. And I appreciate you taking time, and it was good to get to know you a little bit more than just hear like the stories about, hey, this guy worked for WWE. He doesn't really care about anything. His reaction was dumb. You know, it's kind of nice to get my own version of a story besides hearing what everybody else is saying, you know?
And all in all, just to add in, as far as like I said, my reaction of lack thereof from the actual moment of my win, my I gave them I felt that I gave them a genuine and great reaction. But the time that I was there, from the time that I arrived, which was Wednesday of last week, to the time that tournament took place that Friday, I got little to no sleep. I got about maybe 10 or 12 hours of sleep, which is not a lot in a 3 or 4 day period. And so I think anybody would be a little tired, but I mustered up everything that I could. Like I said, I'm super thankful. I'm super thankful, and I can't thank everybody enough. And you for just allowing me to be on your show. You're a great guy, and I appreciate the privilege and honor to be on here.
Oh yeah, no problem. Don't listen to anybody. They don't need to tell you how to react to winning a bunch of money. They don't know what it's like. They've never been up there on the stage. It's fine. Plus, you know what? You probably have like a million emotions going on at the time. It's in front of all these people. You probably want to stay composed. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Who cares?
I can tell you this: when I sat down after take over to watch the show, I did actually sat down on my seat and I did cry. I burst into tears. I was bawling out because I was like, I can't believe this. It really happened. My life has changed for the better, and I can do so much good with this, and that's what I want to do. So I legit did. You can ask all the other semifinalists; they all saw me crying, sitting in my seat, because and half the fans in the section. It's just it was a great moment. It hit me at that point when I was sitting there. I just really thought about it, and I was like, oh my God, I really just did this. I worked my butt off and I earned it, and I was so happy. So that the reaction I had there is probably what most people would have had initially, but it really didn't hit me until after, because I was so tired. And then I talked to my mom, and that's what got me. She was like, "I'm so proud of you, son. You really earned this." And she just recently beat cancer, so she beat uterine cancer, and had I'm just so glad that she did that. And I get to take care of dad. My mom and my dad are, make sure they're good. So that's what made me cry. I was like, I can take care of her. I can take care of her and make sure there's not a thing she will lack for again, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's good. That's amazing to hear, and glad to hear about your mom. So hopefully everything works out on that end. You can take care of your family, and then, maybe things go up and you get to the WWE someday, but keep on pushing, keep that attitude, that positive attitude. I love to see that. And don't worry about the haters. They'll, like next week, they'll forget about it anyway. It's fine.
True. This is true.
So anyway, thanks again for coming on out. You want to put your Twitter, I guess? We could
absolutely
have people check you out.
Absolutely. So for YouTube, if it's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Golden Talk TV. I still have an up and coming show. We talk about all things wrestling, video games, Marvel, DC, fan suggested content. You let me know. I'll be glad to put that out. And I do live shows for Twitter and Instagram and Tout, even though nobody uses Tout, at Real Golden Voice. And again, that's at Real Golden Voice on Twitter, Instagram, and Tout. And you can add me on Facebook at Stephan Benson. My fan page is Stephan Theodore Benson. And thank everybody so much for tuning in. And make sure if you haven't already, that you subscribe and like, not only to me, but also to Mr. TonyPizzaGuy, because he's amazing.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. And you have a great rest of your day.
And you as well. Thank you.